Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court has extended Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's ED custody by 4 days till the 1st of April. ED has in fact sought a 7-day extension on Kejriwal's custody in the liquor policy case. In the last few days, we have seen the wife of the Chief Minister, Sunita Kejriwal, emerge as an important face, even as the Aam Aadmi Party that rode to power on an anti-corruption promise faces its darkest hour. The opposition, of course, has its own dilemma about the situation, but it has decided to hold a protest against the BJP for the electoral bonds revelations. The excise policy that was initiated by the Aam Aadmi Party government has seen many a top neta go behind bars, from Manish Sisodia to K Kavitha to Arvind Kejriwal himself now. Will this case change the way government policies are framed, since the head of the government himself has been arrested on a policy? Will Kejriwal be seen as a kingpin of alleged corruption or a victim of politics? How will the BJP counter the support he has among the urban poor of the capital who have voted for his government multiple times? Those are some of the questions we will try and answering tonight. Joining us now is a panel of guests, but first let's listen to some reactions.
देखिए, सीएम ने कुछ बातें पिछले कुछ महीनों में कही थी। सीएम ने कहा था कि इनको मेरे से और मेरे बयानों से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, इनको सिर्फ मुझे गिरफ्तार करना है। वो बात साबित हो गई। 7 दिन की रिमांड हो चुकी है, कोई नया सबूत, कोई चीज सामने नहीं आई है। तो सीएम साहब ने कहा कि अब तुम अपनी पूरी तसल्ली कर लो, जितने दिन मुझे रिमांड में रखना है तुम रख लो। जज साहब को कहा कि आप जितना दिन ये मांगे इनको दे दीजिए, मुझे इसमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, मैं जांच में पूरी तरह से सहयोग कर रहा हूं, मैं रिमांड में रहने के लिए तैयार हूं। तो ये बात उन्होंने कही।
Kejriwal has now been sent again to the ED custody till 1st of April. Now, to talk more on this, we are being joined in an exclusive conversation with Kejriwal's counsel, Senior Advocate Ramesh Gupta ji with us. Sir, my first question to you, sir. Today, the court again has sent him to the custody of the ED till 1st of April, sir. How do you see this order, first of all?
Today, the ED moved an application for further custody for 7 days. And they have laid certain grounds on what grounds they want his further custody. But Mr. Kejriwal requested the court that he wants to address some statement in person. So the court allowed him. Then he raised 4 or 5 grounds that why his arrest is illegal and not as per the law. And then lastly he said that one of the accused, Mr. Samir Reddy or Sharad Reddy, was arrested much earlier, and so many statements were recorded. In the last statement, after a few months, he named him also, and then it is also, he said on record that now when there is a disclosure of this bonds by the Election Commission, it is found that this company of the same accused had donated 50 crore rupees worth bonds to BJP. So that is, he said, the real scam. That is where the money has been laundered. So, and he told the court that it needs to be investigated also. But after that he said that he has no objection if he is further remanded to police custody, as he is willing to cooperate, and he has also cooperated. And so in view of this, all arguments were not relevant. Then just said that you are conceding, but we said that without prejudice to the grounds which they are taking. We are opposing those grounds. They are not legally sustainable. They are ill-founded grounds. But since Kejriwal himself that I am willing to go again in whatever custody you want. So in view of that, I have not read the order so far, but in view of that, learned judge, a special judge has granted further 4 days custody for ED to investigate.
So today also, as you rightly mentioned, that you had opposed, the grounds of the arrest. And so in earlier hearings also, we have seen how Kejriwal's counsel, which also you are also a part of, sir, you have consistently, sir, you have said that these cannot be the grounds of arrest. If you can explain, sir, to our viewers, why is that so?
No. Today we were not saying grounds of arrest are not justified. We say further police remands ground are not justified. As far as ground of arrest are not as per law are not sustainable, matter is already pending in the Honorable High Court of Delhi, and Dr. Singhvi has been arguing, and I think 3rd of April the court has given that for final disposal. So I think all those grounds will be debated and ultimately adjudicated by the High Court of Delhi. So basically at this stage, I don't feel that I should comment on that.
So is Mr. Kejriwal a political victim or the kingpin of corruption? To understand this better, let's go to Vedant Agarwal, who's been tracking this case. Vedant, Kejriwal has made his submissions in the court today. He says that he has not been convicted by any court. He has in fact alleged that ED has two motives: to create a smokescreen of sorts to crush his party and to also create an extortion racket. Now, these are very serious allegations. BJP, meanwhile, is saying that Delhi is under a huge constitutional crisis, and if Kejriwal has any regard for the people of Delhi, he should be resigning. So, what is it that you make sense of, and how do you see this playing out?
Well, Basu, there are multiple aspects to this. Very quickly, what happened in court today, Arvind Kejriwal made 2-3 important points. He said that this is a smokescreen for extortion, and at the same time, he said that there are just 4 statements of witnesses based on which the Enforcement Directorate has asked for 7 more days of his police remand, which is why he said that this is not justified, because based on 4 statements, even a pickpocket would not be arrested. Secondly, he said that the Enforcement Directorate has not put out any evidence in public domain, and basically the Enforcement Directorate's motive is to finish the Aam Aadmi Party, and it's acting at the behest of the BJP. The Enforcement Directorate, on the other hand, made important submissions in the court as well, saying, and this is perhaps the biggest takeaway from what happened in court today, the Enforcement Directorate made the claim that the Chief Minister himself asked for 100 crore rupee kickback, during the liquor policy case, which is now scrapped. When the new liquor policy was implemented, certain contractors allegedly were favoured, and it is for the first time that the Enforcement Directorate has said that Kejriwal himself asked for 100 crore rupee kickback. This is a huge allegation, because so far, remember, Arvind Kejriwal has not been named in the charge sheet. He's not been named as an accused in either by the CBI or the Enforcement Directorate. But the ED is saying that he himself asked for 100 crore rupees is a big allegation. Other than that, the Enforcement Directorate also said that the money trail will now be established, and they have concrete evidence to support their argument that Arvind Kejriwal received money as kickbacks and commissions, and that was used as money for the Aam Aadmi Party's electoral campaigns in Goa and Punjab. In fact, certain leaders from Goa have also been summoned, and what we hear from sources is that the next 4 days are going to be crucial, because the Enforcement Directorate will confront Arvind Kejriwal with witnesses, with these leaders who have been summoned, and also digital data that has been excavated. The Enforcement Directorate says that he's not been cooperating in this entire investigation, which is why it needs more time. Very quickly, looking at what happens in Delhi now, well, cabinet meetings are going on because he didn't have any portfolio, and you have senior ministers chairing the cabinet meetings here. Right. But of course, what is going to be the LG's next move? That is going to be very interesting to watch. Whether he will designate a special building as special prison, whether he will step in to create a situation where Arvind Kejriwal will have to step down, whether some other minister of the Aam Aadmi Party will take over, all of that now becomes a key focus.
So politically critical days for the people of Delhi. Thank you so much, Vedant, for joining us with those details. I also have Akshay Marathe, who is a spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. We also have Aarti Jairath, who is a political analyst, and also Ashutosh Srivastava, who is a Supreme Court lawyer. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Akshay, other than the Congress, Kejriwal is perhaps the only person who leads the only opposition party which rules in more than one state. Now, did Mr. Kejriwal put his party at risk by taking on the centre, and how is his arrest going to impact his own promise and projection of clean politics?
Asna, first of all, let me start off by saying that Arvind Kejriwal is a victim of the BJP's dictatorial regime. So nothing that Arvind Kejriwal would have done differently would have saved him from the current outcome that he's facing, because he dared to challenge the BJP. He dared to go against Narendra Modi in Gujarat, in Goa, and of course in Punjab and Delhi we have governments. So the BJP is afraid of Mr. Kejriwal, and they will do anything to stop him, which has become evident now. In the court today, he very systematically demolished the case that the ED is trying to make against Mr. Kejriwal. It's a fake and illegal case, where the people who are accusing Mr. Kejriwal of asking for a bribe and being the recipient of a bribe have for 5-6 months, when they were in the ED custody, never taken Arvind Kejriwal's name. And after spending months in jail, those unfortunate people had to take Arvind Kejriwal's name to be able to get out of jail. So the clear-cut question that is facing the whole country today is that, is it enough to have 4 people's statements after 6 months of incarceration, taking Arvind Kejriwal's name, to arrest him with zero documentary evidence, no money trail established, Not a single rupee has been recovered from any Aam Aadmi Party leader in the 500 odd raids that the Enforcement Directorate has conducted. So the question before our country is: do we believe that this is the correct thing to do to a democratically elected chief minister, where you have the election coming up in 1 month, so you're taking him practically out of the election campaign?
Yes, so timing is important here. Aarti, politically, now these are very important points, but these are also larger issues. Politically, how do you see this playing out, and who do you see leading the party in future if the CM perhaps stays in jail for longer? Is it there is Sunita Kejriwal now? There's also Bhagwant Mann. There are also leaders like Atishi. Do you think that Mr. Kejriwal also probably failed to groom senior leaders, experienced both in politics and administration, who could have helped steer the party in these times? Aarti, could you just unmute yourself?
Well, so I think there are several issues here, and I think Akshay has raised them actually. One is the timing of the arrest. The summons have been served to Arvind Kejriwal over the last 6 months. If they needed to arrest him, they could have arrested him anytime. Why did they choose to do it after elections have been announced? Which is why, it makes it easy for Arvind Kejriwal to say that he is a victim of a political conspiracy. The second question really is that, so...
Right. Okay, let me go to Ashutosh for the same question.
All these months.
Okay. Okay. Aarti, continue, if you can.
Yeah, I'm saying the ED has still not established a clear money trail leading to any Aam Aadmi Party leader. Right. Now, they've all been arrested under this very draconian law called, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And this law gives the ED sweeping powers. Right. And it also overturns the basis of jurisprudence, which is that, it puts the onus of proving his innocence on the person who is accused.
Absolutely.
So, you have to first establish your innocence before you even know what the charges against you are, before you even know what the evidence against you, is.
Right.
So, the whole thing is really very, very murky. And of course, Kejriwal, being the, sort of smart politician that he is going to try and milk this for as much sympathy as he can gain, as with elections looming large on the horizon.
Mr. Srivastava, that's an important point that Aarti is making, but what does this mean for the future of policy making, law making? This one policy, excise policy, that has gotten so many people behind bars. Do you think governments need to also be careful when they devise policies? What are the things that they need to be careful about? And do you think Aam Aadmi Party could have done probably better for its own future if it had been less hostile towards the centre?
See, what I can say here is that even when there is an arrest, the remands are being given by the courts. See, the investigating agency, for instance, Enforcement Directorate in this case, they are making applications before the concerned special court for extension of the remand on certain submissions before that court. Now, considering the court which has gone through such submissions, if the court is convinced that the remand can be extended, then only it is being extended. Now, if we talk about the timing and other part of it, of the arrest, see, as per Section 50 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, several summons have been served as of now. So the arrest has taken place only after due process of law was, conducted and the summons were served.
Right.
Now, see, if the ED feels that the investigation is not properly completed and they feel that the custodial interrogation is further required, and the court is also of the same view, then only the remand can be extended. It is not that only ED which has got that kind of power where they can extend the remand by themselves. And any accused for that purpose has the right to approach and challenge such kind of remand also before the High Court.
Right.
And I think in this case, it has also been challenged before the High Court, but the High Court has not given any relief. Maybe whatever the submissions would have been made before the High Court. Right. So considering all these aspects, it is not that only ED has been, going through or taking just actions like that. They are under the supervision of the courts as per the law of this country.
Let me ask this question to Akshay. Akshay, many people have been talking about this inherent sympathy for Mr. Kejriwal and the kind of hold that he has on the urban poor of the capital. But how is this going to show on streets or in the ballot box? Because, in a fast-moving world, people do move on fast. And do you think that it is going to take a lot out of you to mobilize that kind of support for the Chief Minister?
Vasudha, in our country, we have seen that whenever governments become too powerful, whenever they have overextended their mandate, like we have seen when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister and she went all out to crush everybody who opposed her, the people very silently started to mobilize against her. Nobody needed to come and mobilize people. People have a very intrinsic sense of right and wrong. When they see someone bullying and trying to crush somebody weaker than them, they automatically feel that sympathy. Nobody needs to tell them to feel the sympathy. If you have a heart, you can see what's going on. You can see how the Narendra Modi government is completely hell-bent on destroying any sense of opposition in this country. And what happens is that if you don't toe the BJP's line, they ask you to join them. So either you go to jail or you join the Bharatiya Janata Party. People are watching this. Nobody needs to educate them. They are intelligent enough to see what's going on. And what is in issue in this upcoming election is not whether Narendra Modi is a good prime minister or a bad prime minister. It is whether we want to have a democracy in India or not. Or do we want a dictatorship and authoritarian regime? That is the question before the people. And only a vote for the India alliance is a vote for democracy. A vote for the BJP alliance is a vote for dictatorship. Right. Now let me come to the second question about the courts, because I heard the previous speaker talk about the courts being the ones that are granting remand. The section 45 of the PMLA law gives the presumption of guilt as the default basis of incarceration. So until the trial takes place and the trial proves that the accused person is innocent, the courts are also hesitant to give bail because the law of the land states that. And this is not the law that was passed in 2005. The BJP has actually amended this in the last few years to make this law so harsh that they can keep people in jail forever without even a trial happening.
How do you see the BJP's response to this? Because, you see the party has also changed MP candidates in Delhi, except, of course, Manoj Tiwari. But also, you've seen the Sheesh Mahal controversy come up. You've seen Mohalla clinics controversy come up. You've seen the excise policy. Do you think finally the BJP has something in hand to counter the Aam Aadmi Party? Or do you think that these issues are not potent enough for the party to, for people to shift their preference to BJP when it comes to assembly polls in Delhi?
So, the thing is that these are right now, in the realm of allegations, right? Till these allegations are actually proved in court and somebody is found guilty, it is a battle of perception. And, clearly particularly at election time, it becomes a perception battle. So I think what the BJP is trying to do is trying to destroy this, so-called clean image of the Aam Aadmi Party after they came to power, riding this anti-corruption, stir that they had launched. And the BJP would like to puncture that very much, particularly at a time when all these, stories are coming out about the electoral bonds and, the kind of quid pro quos that have happened. So I think that, right now it's really all speculation. And as far as the people of India are concerned, voters will, I think, take their decisions, as the campaign gathers steam, as issues are raised. Right now, it's all happening in court. It hasn't yet hit the streets. So, I think that it's still too early to say how it's going to play out politically.
Right. So, larger questions there. Thank you, Aarti. Thank you, Akshay. And thank you, Ashutosh Srivastava, for joining us on this show.